All right, this is the first video that I'm making for Willow's e-collar training. I'm just explaining here how the collar functions, how you want to put it on her neck, and how snug you want it to be. So you've purchased the e-collar technologies mini educator collar. It's a very user-friendly collar, and the stimulation in it is very safe. What I mean by that is the electric stimulation produced by the collar receiver, which is this. This is the collar remote. The stimulation produces what we call static stimulation. So it's very similar to like what you might get from a chiropractor, like a TENS unit. It doesn't give any sort of like electrical burn. It's not a grounding sort of electricity. It's very much like a vibrate. And I recommend that you test it out on yourself a little bit so you know what it feels like. So first and foremost, turning the collar on and off. The collar receiver is turned on and off by a magnetic dot. It's this little red dot. You touch it to the red dot on the remote. Red means I'm turning it off, and there's going to be no more blinking on it. When I turn it on, I touch them. It'll blink green, and then it'll blink green continuously every few moments. The remote, you can see it's turned on because the display is illuminated. There's an on-off button on the back. It also is your light button. You simply hold it down to turn the collar off and on until it says off and the screen goes blank. Turning it on, holding it down, it says on, I let go. Doesn't matter what order you turn them on or off, just make sure you remember to especially turn the collar off, because sometimes the magnet doesn't touch enough and doesn't turn it off all the way. I've attached the wings on here for you. I'll take them off whenever I send the collar back. You can put your own set on. They're very easy to put on. This collar relies on contact to nerve endings. So it's important that it's touching a muscular part of her neck. So when I test it on myself, I always put it on my forearm where there's more nerve endings, more muscle, as opposed to like fingertips or the palm of my hand. Willow is working on a very low level. It's a level 5. And we're going to keep that level whether we're inside and outside for right now. The black button that says S stands for stimulation. That's what I'm going to refer to as your low level stimulation button. When you press that, it's going to stimulate a level 5 into the collar receiver. And I'm doing that to myself right now. I can barely feel it. You have 100 levels on this collar, so there's a lot of room to play with. We're going to just start her today on this low level stimulation. The black button is what we call your boost. Okay, that's a high level stimulation. The collar comes set that when you push the black button or the red button, it stimulates 5 levels higher. So it's going to go from a 5 to a 10. 5, 10. Black button is just going to be 5. I set that level with this dial on top. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at a 5, and I can lock it by just holding down this top one till that that button blinks red. And now when I turn it, the levels don't change. So this is good when you're training or you're outside hanging out and you have this with you, to lock that in place. That way you don't accidentally twist the knob and turn it up too high or turn it down too low and she doesn't feel anything. So we're locked in at a level 5. I set your collar to continuous stimulation. There should be no need for you to change that. But just so you're aware, the small button on the back changes between momentary and continuous. Momentary is when the screen says M. That means when you press the stimulation button, the collar receiver is only going to put out electric stimulation for a split second. Continuous means it's going to continue to give stimulation as long as you hold down this button. However, it does have a 9-second emergency cutoff. I like continuous because if you want to do a momentary stim, all you gotta do is tap the button. And we already talked about the light function. It shouldn't really be a big need for you to use that, but it's there if you want it. And lastly, there's a tone and vibrate button here. Right now it just vibrates. You can adjust it so it's a tone. Again, I don't recommend even messing with that. This vibrate is probably a lot more aversive to her than the level 5 stim. Actually, I can almost guarantee it is, because you'll see the video next of me working her on the level 5 stim, and she's almost seems like nothing's even happening to her, nothing's phasing her. When you put the collar on her, again, you want it to be in like a meaty, muscular part of the neck. So I recommend on either side of the trachea. Sometimes we even put it on the top of the neck. My own dog, I try to mix it up in different places every time I put it on, just so he's not getting used to it being in one spot, and it can be more comfortable on the neck that way. When you put it on, I put a little marker on there. It's just a plastic strap. Tighten it down all the way to that strap, and that'll be perfect. Okay. This will ensure that she's getting good contact directly to her skin, because these probes must touch her skin in order for this to work for her. All right. And make sure that whenever you put this on, it's always turned on. I would recommend only using it for the drills that I'm sharing in the following videos for right now. When we can get her back with us for another lesson, we will more than likely introduce her to the boost level, and we'll customize that for you, and we'll explain how to use it at that point. But for right now, you're pretty much just going to be doing what I'm demonstrating in the following videos here. So I hope you enjoy working with her, and I think she's going to be a really good time and a great dog to be off leash with you.